In wintertime, you can get a little bit of cabin fever, so you gotta take advantage of beautiful days like this to get outside. And we don't have a lot of geography in our little town, but I thought I'd take you on a hike up the one piece of geography that we do have in town, and that is the Butte. A butte being a little hill on the prairies. Not much of a hike. I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is that the last 2 years, no matter where you've lived in the world, have been difficult. And how do we face an uncertain future as entrepreneurs and artists and creatives? How have you been holding up? Because a lot of people haven't been holding up very well at all. I've seen it with so many people over the last couple years. I've seen it in YouTubers who've slumped, who you can tell it's got to their head. I was watching a YouTuber the other day who was explaining the reason he quit YouTube was because it had all got to his head. It was just the stress and the depression, and he just couldn't do it anymore. So a little while ago, we were reading in a book how one of the communist tactics, and honestly, this is completely unrelated to COVID, we were reading about something else, but one of the communist tactics in psychological warfare is to obscure the goal of people, to make it so that there is no future worth working for, or at least you don't know where you're going, to make things confusing in people's minds. And I think regardless which side of the issue you ended up on over the last 2 years, whether it's because of the fear of a virus or sickness or the uncertainty of the economy or governments or whatever it is, that is essentially what has happened on a really broad scale. We've lost our view of tomorrow. We've lost our hope for the future, and we end up living in this gray, depressing today. And it's no good for our minds. It's not good. It's not a good place to live. It's really not healthy. It leads to fear, it leads to anxiety, and for a lot of people, it's led to paralysis. And I think what can happen is that we end up getting so focused on this big picture that's completely outside of our control. Whether that's a virus we can't control or a government policies that we can't control, we end up just focusing on all these huge problems. And they are huge, they're intimidating, they're giant. Looks like a moose was here maybe. That's a little bit bigger than a deer track. And there are so many problems in the world today that are so huge and are legitimately outside of our control. But when we end up focused almost exclusively or too much on those things, we end up paralyzed. When really what we should be putting a lot more attention into is what we can actually control and what is actually right in front of us. I believe that God has put us all here for a reason. He has put us in a specific time, in a specific place, in a specific moment in history, at a specific geography amongst a certain people. And he didn't put us here to sit in a corner and cower. He put us here to multiply and to take dominion and to be fruitful and to create value. So I guess my encouragement to you is focus on what is right in front of you, what is close to you, what has God put around you for you to do. But don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying ignorance is bliss and just live in a world where you don't know what's going on and just plug your ears and pretend that everything's fine. I am not saying that. There is a place and it is good to be aware of what's going on in the world. But when we become obsessed with what we cannot control, and that becomes too much, the majority of what we are thinking about, and it starts creating this anxiety and this paralysis and this stress that gets in the way of us doing what we were actually created and put here to do, that's a problem. Be informed, stay aware, That's fine, but don't let it get in the way of what is right in front of you, the things that you actually can be doing, the things you actually have influence over. Because as crazy as the world is right now, God put you here for a reason, for a purpose. And the world needs who you were created to be. So bloom where you are planted. Stop waiting for a tomorrow in which everything is going right, in which all the governments do exactly as you would have them do, and there are no more diseases, and the economy is just going up forever, and everything is perfect. It is not a mistake that you're here today in the midst of troubled times. Maybe you're not supposed to fix all the troubled times and make them all better, but maybe, just maybe, you are here so that you can make the world a better place for somebody else. Welcome to the top of the butte in beautiful Didsbury, Alberta. So this is the view east, and this is the big water tower up on top of the butte, and this over here is our view west. So stop waiting. This is the time that you've been given. Use it. I've got 101 ideas for how to make the world a better place if I was a prime minister or if I was the top world health expert. But I'm not that. And maybe someday they'll phone me up and ask me, but right now I need to focus on what's right in front of me. Where am I and why am I here? A little bit of Netflix might be fine, but you are meant for more than that. As a mentor of mine recently asked on a YouTube video, did you waste your first pandemic? Five deer down there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Running around on the golf course. If it wasn't for those clouds, we'd have a good view of the mountains. Beautiful day. Absolutely beautiful up here. I don't know if you can see them, they're so small in this camera. Oh, some right there too. So I guess now that we're at the top, I'll leave you with that. If you are feeling stressed or overwhelmed by the uncertainty of the world, the uncertainty of tomorrow, focus on what's in front of you. What is it that you actually can do? Yes, be smart, take precautions, but we have to live as if there is a tomorrow. Because for those who are looking for a tomorrow, there is so much opportunity to be had. If you've lost your job, go find a way to create a business. If you're an artist, find a way to create value. Invest into your community, invest into people. Get to know your neighbors and find out what they need. A powerful antidote to depression is focusing on other people and serving other people and being grateful for what you have. You know, it doesn't have to be complicated, so I guess that's it. Focus on what's right in front of you, find a way to create value, pour into other people. So go do that. Break your paralysis, and I think you'll find that tomorrow has enough troubles of its own, and today isn't as bleak as you thought it was going to be yesterday. Okay, I think that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Till next time.